Good morning, USA. Welcome to today's Beacon of Honor Awakens Our Flag pre-Pledge of Allegiance ceremony for Friday, November 18th, 2016. This will be a longer than usual ceremony because today is a never forgotten Friday for the Beacon of Honor. Today's flag status. The Beacon of Honor tells us that across the USA, our flag flies at full staff today. It's a never forgotten Friday, so first we honor our recent fallen combatants. In the past week, there were 3 U.S. Army soldiers and 2 U.S. defense contractors who died overseas defending our freedoms. 4 of the 5 were killed by a suicide bomber in Afghanistan. Sergeant John Perry, Private First Class Tyler Ayubelt, Colonel Retired Gerald Reeves, Mr. Hollingsworth, and Specialist Ronald Murray Jr. We honor and thank you for your service and offer our condolences to your loved ones left behind. You can learn more about the lives of these fallen soldiers by visiting the links below. Also on this never forgotten Friday, we recall one of America's most famous speeches, given as a dedication at the Soldiers National Cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. The Gettysburg Address, a tribute to nearly 9,000 Union and Confederate soldiers killed during Civil War's Battle of Gettysburg. It was delivered by President Abraham Lincoln on November 19th, 1863, 153 years ago tomorrow. Lincoln's speech stands out as one of the most enduring classroom memories for me. In 7th grade, we had to dissect, memorize, and reenact Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. I spent many hours memorizing and repeatedly stating the speech. I was very nervous about how I would stand up in front of my class, a class full of all African American kids except me, and effectively recreate Lincoln's historic speech for them. So here I am now, 35 years later, offering my best rendition of the Gettysburg Address. Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We've come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Gettysburg Address given by President Lincoln, November 19th of 1863. Now, please stand, place your hand upon your heart, and make this Pledge of Allegiance or National Anthem more meaningful by honoring those soldiers who, starting with the Battle of Lexington and Concord, through to the Battle of Gettysburg, and on to today's battles in Iraq and Afghanistan, have sacrificed their lives, so that our government, of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.